Hello and welcome to Odoo Live. My name is Noel, Community Manager here at Odoo San Francisco, and thank you once again for joining us. Today I'm joined by Dowd, one of our channel account managers, to talk about managing translations in Odoo website. So welcome today, Dowd.
Thank you for the introduction, Noel. It's good to be back. Today we'll be talking about website translations, and we'll dive into two different types of translations one can do, from a manual to an automated one. And so, yeah, whenever we're ready, we can.
All right. If you have any questions regarding today's topic, you can please leave them in the chat. We'll answer them at the end during our Q&A session. And if you have any additional questions regarding webinars, you can get in touch with us. Send us an email to webinars@odoo.com. Or if you would like to reach out to Dowd directly, Dowd, what is your email address?
My email address is very simple. It's Dan, D-A-N, @odoo.com.
That's as simple as it can be, I believe.
That's
right. So yeah, I guess without further ado, go ahead and take it away, Dowd.
Okay, great. Am I on the presentation?
There you are.
We are. Great. Again, my name is Dowd Nari. I'm one of the channel account managers here, and typically I deal with partners on our side on the indirect channel. Today's agenda, very quickly, we will talk about, obviously, like I mentioned before, website translations. We'll start with the apps that are needed and modules as well. And then we'll start with the automatic translation using Gengo, which is a third-party service and application that we've integrated with from the back end. And then I'll walk down through the manual translation. And then we'll finish off with a Q&A, and it should be a fairly quick webinar. There's so many moving parts to this webinar, but I always like to start by saying who would benefit from these webinars. Anyone who's watching that has a global audience on their website and they intend to use Odoo website application, this would be a great tool for them. If you're also using Odoo website application and you're an HTML or web developer, this would be a great short webinar for you as well. And now I would like to just show real quick which applications we'll be diving into, so at least you're prepared. We will be obviously going into website. I will go into settings as well as the apps to install a couple of modules. And so with that, I'll hit escape. So caveat, this is our version 12, so things have changed a little bit. And with that, let me hit. So the first step is for us to, I'm going to start with the automatic translation. As I had mentioned, let me actually get out of F11. We do use a third-party service called Gengo. I invite everyone to go and look at their website and maybe even perhaps register for an API sandbox account, which I will show how that integrates with us. And because this is a demo account and their services do require a payment, obviously, that's how they derive their revenue. I invite you to take a look at their website because that's where I'm going to start. So once I come back to our database, I will go to our applications and I will look for all the modules that have Gengo. So first type Gengo on there and then remove the existing filter, and we should let's type translation. There they are. We're going to install this one. So that is one of the modules that is needed. And just let me go back and make sure that another one I think will show up once we do that. And remove that one. We will need also the Gengo translator as well. So we will install the Gengo translator. Once we do that, I have already gone onto their website. Again, I'm not sure this will work because these are sandbox APIs, public keys and a private key. I will use these once you have a paid subscription with Gengo. The best way to, once we go in, now we dive into our website application. We'll go into our settings. And now in here, Gengo should have been installed. Let's do this. Control F. We'll have to do activate the developer mode first, so we can find the translations. And up top here, just type translations, and we will see the Gengo manual request of translation. And this is where you would click here to configure your Gengo parameters. And once you do that, Gengo will be installed onto your website application. Once that is done, and we jump back into our website, now if we go to our website, we can now start loading new languages here. And we can select, I'm going to select Spanish. I'll select the first one. And with the new version 12, we do have the capabilities to have two websites at the same time. I'm going to install on only my primary website. I hit load. And once this loads and you select the language, once Gengo is configured correctly, let's close this out. This button over here where it says traducir, now it's in Spanish, it will say automatically, translate automatically. But because this is a sandbox environment and Gengo requires a paid subscription, we don't see that here, but typically that's what you would see here. It would say translate automatically, or whichever language you've selected, it will say traducir. For instance, in Spanish, it will say traducir automáticamente. And just to revisit now real quick, the location where you would enter the API keys for Gengo, it should appear now under website. And we go to the configuration menu, and then settings. Typically would appear down here where you would enter the APIs. These APIs would then be used, and the private key as well. So now, having moved on from the automatic translation, it's fairly straightforward. Now let's talk about real quick as to how you would do it manually. And it's a very intuitive, very straightforward way to do the translation manually. We've kind of simplified a lot of the process for our customers. Again, I've already installed a language. As you can see, we can toggle back and forth between English and Spanish. Once you have Spanish, the language you want to translate selected, the green button will show up again, which says traducir. Once you click on that, the website application will highlight all the locations that have already been translated in green and the ones that require translation in yellow. Now, however, just because they're in green, it doesn't mean you can't modify them. You can, and we'll see that shortly. So let's hit on OK, and this is where I would go ahead and type in here and change this and say, for instance, consultoría IT. And I can do that for all the already existing content here. And we can change this from home to inicio, which is the equivalent in Spanish, and so on and so forth. And for instance, say and sometimes it does happen, we do have a little bit of incorrect translations here and there due to local terminology. If you see something that's already in green and you do want to change it as well, you can still click in there and change that. For instance, the number 1, it did earlier. There was an instance where earlier in a different version I was trying to run, you could change that. I'll have to double check on that one. It did work for me earlier. Once you're done with your translations, you just hit save. And obviously now it's going to save your translations. And if we to double check, we can go from Spanish to English, toggle back and forth. And now we have the changes are set. So again, as a kind of a recap, we have two ways you can do translations on using Odoo's website application. There's the automatic translations that are done through a third-party service that is integrated within the website application. And you can do it manually if you have, obviously, the human resources to do that. And you can add as many different languages as you want. There is no limitation to the languages. For instance, let's say your broad market is beyond just Spanish-speaking Latin America. Let's say you have Brazilian clientele. So we can select Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese. We can load that up as well. And we'll have three options to toggle between three different languages. Let's take a look at that real quick. And now you have your options here. And same thing. Click on Traducir. And you can go ahead and start translating the content. Oh, here it is. It has actually appeared. Now we have automatic. Now if you take a look, our API has kicked in. The Gengo API has kicked in. And now we have Traducción Automática up here. Let's see what happens. So if we click on that, I haven't done this outside of the live environment, so fingers crossed. It looks like maybe this is more on their end. So I think that's it. That brings us to the end of our short webinar. Yeah, please feel free if you have any additional questions regarding this specific application. By all means, let us know.
All right. So yeah, we did get one question at the very beginning. Nick asked, is it possible to translate the word vendor to supplier across an entire Odoo implementation? I mean, for instance, UK English has a few of these quirks.
Yeah, and we get that quite often. So yes, there is. This is not specifically pertaining to our website applications. It is a great question. We do get it very often. We do have Odoo, just because of our philosophy, we've always relied on our community to help just make our products just that much better. So there is a mechanism, an access for translations that people can improve on. Yeah, reach out to me over my email, dan@odoo.com, and I can send you the information how that could, we can go about helping you help us make our translations that much better.
Yeah. And so then, you know, we had another question here. So is it necessary to do these translations using a third party?
No, absolutely not. And that's a great question as well. Absolutely not. It's just an option. And the option comes up when sometimes perhaps a company, let's say they're small, medium sized, they just don't have the resources perhaps to hire someone who could do those translations for them on a multilingual level, and perhaps a third-party solution, you know, for them makes more sense. And by the way, Gengo does offer live translations. There is a cron job that's configured. So in other words, any new additional content that you add to your website, and based on how you've configured Gengo as well, it'll go and run a chronological job on your website, and any new content will also be translated. But I do direct you towards Gengo.com to look at, you know, their services and their ratings and feedback prior to using, should you want to use that third-party solution. Otherwise, no, it is not necessary, and that's why we give that flexibility of automated or manual.
Great, yeah. So yeah, I think that's like you said. It's probably gonna wrap it up for us here. Thank you, Dowd, for showing us how translations work in Odoo.
My
If you
pleasure.
have any lingering questions, you can send us an email to webinars@odoo.com, or if you would like to get in touch with Dowd directly, Dowd, what is your email address?
It is dan@odoo.com.
Exactly. Don't forget, we have live events all over the world, especially in this country. You can see all of our upcoming roadshows at odoo.com/events. I myself will be in Mexico City next week, so if you're in the area, I'd love to see you.
Sure.
And yeah, I think that's going to do it for us here. So thank you all, and we will see you all next time.